In this video, I'm gonna do an analysis of the story called Maskless Lovers, and I want to start by doing a short summary of the story, and then I want to talk about the characterization of Marshibin and Kakab and their relationship and the issues, and then I want to talk about the themes in the story, the obvious one and the more hidden ones, and last but not least, I want to do a perspectivation of the story. And the story is about a mother and daughter. They're originally from Pakistani, but now the daughter lives in London and goes to London University, and the mother lives somewhere in the middle or North England. We get told that they don't see each other a lot, so when they meet, which they do in the story, they just have a normal everyday conversation. They talk about how it goes and traditions and what has happened. And that's Mahjabin is a girl in her 20s, and she's divorced from her husband, who also were her cousin. So now she lives on her own in London. She's integrated in the English society, and this we see as she goes to London University. She dyes her hair lighter, and you can say if she still saw herself as a true Pakistani, then she would aim for the black hair, not dye it lighter than her original hair. And one of the most important signs that she's not as into Buddhism as her family. And this we see when she forgets the Eid in page 3, line 11. She says, "Fasting was a Ramadan recently. Mahjabin is August. I had a feeling that I missed the Eid festival. Why didn't you phone?" And she also, on page 5, line 36, says, "Oh Christ," and she says, "Oh Christ, what difference does it make who she was with?" And she also has an affair with a Hindu boy, which is against not only her parents but also their religion's intention. So she might say to her parents that she's into Buddhism, but in herself she doesn't believe it. And since she is a second generation immigrant, that helps a lot to integrate into society. And she sees herself a part of both England and Pakistan, and not only Pakistani. The mother, on the other side, is a first generation immigrant, and thereby she's very religious. And this we see as an example on page 3, line 40. And she says, "No, the Ramadan is in the autumn. I just fasted for 2 days to ask Allah to bring me peace." So she fasts on her own, not only as a tradition. And her religion means a lot to her, which may be one of the causes why Kakab and Mahjabin's relationship isn't the strongest, because they don't relate to each other. Mahjabin tries to avoid the issues with her mother, but the mother tries to bring them closer. And this we see on page 2, line 37. Mahjabin does not wish to enter this privilegious game that recognizes no rules, where a mere comment may be a lure to entice the other into a confrontation. "Would you like some help, mother?" And that's not the only thing. Their immigration in the society does also tear them apart. Where Mahjabin is very integrated, Kakab is very distant from the English society and the English people. This we see on page 4, line 33. And it says, "The white people on the street must think we fucking Pakis are ridiculous, don't know how to do anything right." And this shows us that she doesn't consider herself as integrated, but divide the English people into the white people and the Pakis. So maybe Mahjabin tries to avoid the conversation about their integration and about how they should react to religion when they come to this new country, because the mother is a first generation immigrant. She grew up in Pakistani, and she grew up with the traditions you have in Pakistani, but Mahjabin is both has grown up both with some Pakistani tradition, but also with some English traditions. And that might be a big conflict to know how to deal with those two when they are so far from each other. So, if you should talk about the themes in the story, I would say that the obvious ones were religion and integration. And you can look into the relationship between the mother and the daughter, where these themes are like, they mean a lot to this relationship. And it's also the themes that make some conflicts in the story. Like, it's a normal everyday conversation we hear, but still the conflicts in this conversation is based on their differences in integration and in their religion. So I think it's some of the big themes because it all revolves around this. So every time they talk and every time they meet, they just feel the difference on their religions or on their immigration in society. So I want to put the text in perspective with the text New Girl. It's the same issues that is the main theme through both stories, and in New Girl, the girl has a different original nationality and thereby has to integrate in the society on Prospect Street. Oh, the society is the two kids we hear playing, but it's still her society. And she's being held out of the community because of her skin color and different background. And it's the same situation in Maps for Lost Lovers, where Mahjabeen and Kaukab is two good examples of how integration feels like. And since they're also from Pakistani and thereby not from England where the story takes place, it's some of the same issues, and you can draw lines between the two stories. You can also put this text in perspective with some of the issues we have, for an example, in Denmark. When people come from the East and go to Denmark to live, they have very difficulties by integrating in the society because they don't speak Danish or they don't have the same religion as Danes. They don't look like a Dane, they have some different cultures, and the culture is a very important thing. Just because you're taken from your country and placed in Denmark, it doesn't mean you're Dane. And that's what many people and many refugees, they deal with the problem and the issue. And it's something that the Danes don't know how to handle either. Because we can't just say to them, you have to be a Dane, you have to act like a Dane, you have to think like a Dane, because we're individuals and our culture and what we believe in with religion and how we're raised means a lot to who we are as a person. So when Mahjabeen and Kaukab comes to England, it's difficult just to give up what they believe in just to live as an Englishman or live as English people. And of course, if Kaukab has moved from Pakistan to Denmark, to England, of course it's difficult for her because she still has the Pakistani traditions and cultures, and she looks a lot like a Pakistani. But Mahjabeen, who's raised in England, she might feel and act like a person from England because she doesn't know better. The fact that she doesn't see her parents a lot, it's the only place where she can feel like a Pakistani at their place. So if she doesn't see them a lot, she lives a long way, or she lives like far away from them, then how should she act like a Pakistani when she's surrounded by people from England?